Central to the notion of the New Enlightenment is the idea that if you leave people to pursue their own purposes, they will bring about a spontaneous order. People thrive and prosper when the state leaves well enough alone, letting them get on with their own lives. What role, then, is left for the state? The parable of the Wild West provides some answers. Consider the myth that has been dramatized in 1,000 films. Settlers moving west ask for no more than to be free to make a life for themselves and their families, to use their talents to earn a living and to build a secure future.
Get in there and open the safe.
But this idyll is threatened by lawlessness. There are vicious thieves and psychopathic gunslingers to contend with. The drama of the Western turns on how to defend the rights of ordinary people to the peaceable development of their property.
You hit Red Gap just in time to see the end of another attempt to establish law and order.
It's too early for that. This is still a frontier town.
There'll never be anything else unless the law's upheld.
Make your own laws and protect yourselves the way I do.
Sometimes the local citizens try to enforce these rights themselves. But then there's the danger of mob rule. The solution has to be government, represented by the state marshal, the fair trial, and the penitentiary. But that solution too has problems. How to control those in power and to prevent its abuse.
It's always the first time for everything. I'm going over to the jail and take over.
Though much is myth, the Western does draw on certain truths about how the West was developed. By the time these frontier lands were opened up, the Constitution of the United States was providing a legal framework for society. Its basic principle, the protection of individual rights, was drawn from the work of a 17th century Englishman. The philosopher John Locke was opposed to the arbitrary monarchies of the day. He imagined a state of nature with no government. People would then, he argued, institute just as much government as they needed to protect what he called their natural rights to life, liberty, and property. And if the government itself threatened these rights, then popular rebellion would be justified. What John Locke, who taught in this Oxford College, recognized was the connection between property rights and individual freedom. Our freedom of choice is severely limited if we cannot acquire and dispose of our own property.